Madam Leader, you set the tone for us in many ways in our conference, and I thank you so much for being you and also just being part of Black history. You see, Black History Month isn't just about MLK, it's about ASC. In the other chamber, it's about CEH. It's about Velma Montgomery. It's about that 3/5 compromise that we spoke about. Now, 3/5 of the African-American, 3/5 of the statewide leaders are African-American. That's the way we turn the 3/5 compromise on its head here in the state of New York. It's about lifting every voice and singing. Only the first verse, though. Because you know what happens after the first verse, we lift every voice and sing. There's a lot of humming. It's knowing about those legendary names and their accomplishments, but it's also knowing about somebody named Sylvia Richardson Holder. Now, you might be wondering who's Sylvia Richardson Holder, and please don't Google her just yet. June 22nd, 2015, from the Raleigh News and Observer. Telling a story in pictures in Johnson County Revisited, the newest addition to Arcadia Publishing's Images of America series, H. Smith Richardson of Vic Chemical Company reconnects in the 1940s with his family's aged former slave, Sylvia Richardson Holder, who is said to have had a hand in concocting the vapor rub that became an American household name following World War I. Now, even while in slavery, people who were thought to be inferior, they came up with products that we use to this day, and I want to illustrate that we're not that far removed from slavery. Now, why is Sylvia Richardson Holder important to me? Well, Sylvia Richardson Holder was the mother of Cora Holder Bailey, the mother of U.T. Bailey, who was the father of J.T. Bailey, who was the father of Stanley Bailey, who is my father. My great-great-grandmother was a slave, 117 years old, born in 1835, passing away in 1952, a year before my father was born. We're not that far removed from slavery. So for those who like to say, get over it, we're not that far removed from slavery. Not that many generations away. Great-great-great-grandmother. Now, I illustrate that brief family history not just to say that the Vicks company probably owes us a little bit of money because my great-great-great-grandmother came up with Vapor Rub. We're going to look into that, Mr. President. But plain and simple, Black history is American history. There is no substitution. There is no difference. Black history and American history. Period. Point blank. People must learn about Black history because you have to understand that the fallacy of this post-racial America we still suffer from the vestiges of slavery every day. Mass incarceration, food insecurity, lack of health care, subpar education, and these all stem from slavery. You see, if anybody's interested, we can speak later, and I have her birth certificate here. Very interesting to see how we were considered in that day and time. Colored, Negroid, bills of sale of humans. 100 or so years ago. We are not that far removed. So, on a lighter note, I asked my father and many people in my family group chat, and those of us who have family group chats, we know how they can get. So I asked, what does Black history mean to you? My father, it's the recognition that Black people, their history, their culture, and their blood, sweat, and tears is inextricably woven into the fabric of America's past, present, and future. My Aunt Barbara, after teaching for over 30 years, I've concluded that since the majority of my students were Black, and that most were the grandparents who had a Southern background, I thought that I should have been preaching to the choir. Black History Month should be a Black Studies course that is taught starting in middle school and part of the curriculum at all grade levels, so that people of all backgrounds will learn of the contributions that we made to building this country. Black history to me is my ancestors like Sylvia Richardson Holder, born a slave but persevered to be over 100 years old. Black history is now and will be ingrained in this country whether people accept us or not. You see, even if you don't directly see the struggle, we all have a front row seat. 21 years ago on this day, Amadou Diallo was taken away from us because he was black and had a wallet. Today is Rosa Parks' birthday, another leader in the civil rights movement that we speak about. And we're grateful for her small action that became so big in our society. And speaking of front row seats, on the heels of the Super Bowl, and we wonder why 12 black quarterbacks started games in the NFL this year, a unanimous MVP of the regular season, the Super Bowl MVP, and an offensive coordinator who helped win the Super Bowl, but not one person of color got a head coaching job this offseason. There's a problem. So we're charged with speaking up. Because as Brother Malcolm put it, education is our passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. Now, education isn't just traditional education. It's about knowledge. Knowledge of the role that black folks play in our society. As I often do, I learn every day. Mr. President, I learn through the lens of my daughters. So here's today's Giada and Karina moment. So I'm in the car the other day, and I'm saying, hey, Giada, Black History Month is coming up at school. You're going to start learning things. And she's like, well, what's that? She's like, well, I think I heard something about it on YouTube or Nick Jr. or Disney Jr. on one of these channels. I'm like, all right, well, one, you have too much screen time. We got to cut that down. And the second thing is like, okay, let me explain to you what it is. So Black History Month is where we celebrate the accomplishments of great African Americans who have affected history. And without skipping a beat, she says, Dad, like me? Absolutely like you. So Karina's there. Karina's not going to be outdone. Me too, Dad. I'm great. So either it's me and my wife or Nick Jr., but we're doing something okay. Our kids are that passport to the future that we spoke about, that Malcolm X spoke about. And then she said, well, are there other great African Americans? So we go down a list of people, and she's like, well, what about Pa? That's my dad. Yeah, what about Grandma? Sure. So for the next 15 minutes, she starts naming everybody that she knows that's a great African American person. Because in her mind, we're all great. And that's the message that we should be learning about in Black History Month. We all have greatness within us. Some people's greatness is in certain areas, while others are great in others. But there is greatness in all of us. It is incumbent upon us to have Black History Month so that people understand not only the struggle, but the triumph thereafter. We still have lots of firsts coming up. We've done so much, but there's still some more to do. I'm grateful for this opportunity to sit in this body. I'm grateful for Black History Month. And even though I can't sing, we lift every voice and sing. Thank you, Mr. President.